Hello and welcome everyone, my name is Jessipede and today I'm going to make this little guy a brand new box. So stay tuned because that is coming up next. Games, they are sold by the millions. You can buy them at stores, conventions and even lazily from behind your screen using web shops like these. Games are constantly going from hand to hand and it won't come as a surprise that you'll eventually buy a game that has no box, like this poor fellow. For most people this is not a huge thing, but for collectors like me, I really like to have the games complete, like so. And as you can see, having a box is basically the first step. A lot of people have more than one boxless game. I, for example, also have Tomb Raider, Mario Kart Super Circuit and Zen the Intergalactic Ninja. Yeah, it has no label, but trust me, this is Zen Intergalactic Ninja. Unfortunately, Game Boy games are not the only victims. For example, here I have Lode Runner for the Nintendo 64. But for the sake of this video, we will leave this one out for now. Anyway, if you want to make boxes for these games, I feel we just can't leap in, only for us to crash halfway into the project with an empty wallet and a dent in our egos. We need some guidelines, or some rules if you want. So, here goes. Rule number 1, low budget. Yeah, I know it's a cliche, but we could make a fancy box by bringing drawings and scans to a professional photo lab, but it will cost a lot of money. Maybe even so much that we might as well buy a complete game on eBay. Rule number 2, high quality. The box has to look as nice as it can and get as close to the original as possible. Granted, we're not recreating the Mona Lisa here, but shooting for quality never hurt anyone. Besides, the better the quality, the better it'll look on a shelf. Rule number 3, keep it simple. It should be doable for everyone. This is something you should be able to do at home and for any box you miss in your collection. And that ties into rule number 4, the whole process should be repeatable. This might be an open door, but if we can't repeatedly and consistently create various boxes for all these poor boxless games, then that procedure is simply no good. So with these 4 rules in mind, let's get cracking. Right off the bat, it is clear we need some scans of boxes in the highest quality possible. My first thought was, I cannot be the only or the first one who wants these, right? And thus I went online to search for scanned boxes. Quickly I found out there are a lot of websites out there that offered scanned content. Some of them are freely accessible, some of them you have to register before you can download, and others you simply have to buy stuff. But it gets slightly more tricky than just searching and downloading. We need to make sure the box we are downloading, it actually belongs to the game. So, how to tell this? Well, each game has its own code. For example, my Tomb Raider has a code AGB, which stands for Game Boy Advance, then BL8P and the region code EUR. With this code in mind, we can finally start searching for the right box. After searching for a while, one of my favorite websites so far is Nint And Box. You do have to register, but it is no biggie. Registration is quick and easy. And after registering, you can not only see the game codes, but you can also have the functionality of being able to request for boxes or retouches. Navigation on this website is fairly easy. Click on the menu that says Games by Console. Here you can choose the console for which you want to download the boxes. In our case, let's click Game Boy Advance and voila! There is a whole list of games. Naturally I can search here, so let's find one. And by searching for the code we saw earlier, here it is, Tomb Raider. After clicking it, we see the actual box and some extra information like the resolution, languages and other things. After clicking on the name of the box, you can download the box or, if needed, a label. Remember Zen, we need a label for that one eventually. Okay, now we have familiarized ourselves with this website, let's download the rest off screen and continue with the all-important printing bit. Yay! I have finished downloading and it is time to do some printing. For this I'm going to use two separate printers. I have my own Canon Pixma MP270 printer, and at work I have these heavy-duty laser printers at my disposal. The paper we'll be using is very thick. After all, it needs to be a box. It will be opened and closed every time you play the game, and maybe even stacked between other boxes, so it should be able to handle that kind of use and abuse. So, for the laser printer I have this stuff. It is 200 grams glossy photo paper from HP. For about 20 euros you get 100 sheets. That is about 19 cents per sheet. For my inkjet I found this. It is Epson glossy photo paper and it weighs a whopping 265 grams. Unfortunately it is quite expensive. It's about 62 cents per sheet, but since a game with a box cost way more than that, and I had still lying around some of this stuff, I think rule number 1 is not broken. Another thing we need besides paper are transparent sheets. That is for this cartridge and this cartridge. Originally the boxes had a bed, if you will, where the cartridge was in. It would be very cool if we had the same transparent bed. I cannot remember where I bought the transparent sheets, but a quick search on the internet reveals they cost no more than 20 cents each, so that should be okay. Printing should be relatively easy. All the scans have a tiny scale on them. It allows you to make some test prints in low resolution grayscale. If after printing you find that 2 cm is not actually 2 cm, you can correct for size. If it's too small, you scale the print up, and if it's too big, you simply scale it down. Having said this, I'll go now, print these, and after that we can start cutting and gluing. Hey, you're still with me? Well, welcome to cutting and gluing. As you can see, we now have a stack of neatly printed box halves. We have Mario Kart Super Circuit, Tomb Raider, The Rescue of Princess Blobette, and of course Zen the Intergalactic Ninja. In order to make boxes out of these, we are going to need some tools. First off, we're going to need a ruler. Now, make sure you have a metal ruler and not some plastic thingy. And yes, I know this is a plastic thingy, but watch. A stainless steel back. You can see it right here. This stainless steel back will prevent me from cutting all the way through the ruler with my knife. And speaking about knives, I have a Stanley breakaway knife. By the way, did you know that the little slot here on the end is used to break away the dull knives? Anyway, you can also use an how the heck do you pronounce that?
X-Acto blade.
An X-Acto blade, or any other sharp blade for that matter. The next thing we will need is a shiver pen. Basically, it's a metal pin in a wooden stick. It can be used to make grooves in paper or cardboard, so it will fold more easily without tearing or wrinkling. If you don't have one of these, you can use basically any blunt object. Even a knitting needle like this one should do the trick. And the final ingredient is double-sided tape. This roll of 10 meters double-sided tape cost me about €1.95, and it's extra sticky and tacky. Well, with all this complete, I will take these out of the picture and we can start cutting. Okay, let's move these out of the way because we don't want to cut through everything. And just start one by one. And cue the obligatory montage. Finally, we have cut everything. However, the sharp-eyed viewer might say, hey, that's not a box, and they would be correct. Now comes the tedious task of gluing everything together. As you might have seen, 2 parts make up 1 box. This is due to the fact I cannot print on A3. If you can print that large, you can also download the A3 version of some boxes at Nint And Box. This will make gluing way more easy. I can't, so let me get my tools and start this nerve-wracking task. Okay, got my ruler, got this stuff. Let's first get these out of the way, because I can't glue everything at the same time. Up, this one goes, come on you. And this one can go here for the time being. So, get this stuff out. Okay. First I'm going to make the parts where you can actually bend the box. Of course I use this shiver pen again. And I just gently go. And I'm going to do the same with this side. Make sure you're exactly on the folding line. I found that it's easier to do this in advance than later on. Here it is. I think I have one left right here. And one last pass with the shiver pen. Actually, I keep calling this a shiver pen, but I'm not even sure if that's the original translation. If you know what this tool is, put it in the comment section. I would love to know the original English name of it. Okay, now I should be able to fold this without tearing the paper. Stay very, very gently. Maybe I didn't press hard enough. Oh wait, there it goes, there it goes. And here's another use of this tool. You can now just roll it over your fold, like so. And voila, that's one fold. I should have pressed harder, okay. I'm gonna take the little tabs here. Up. And here's another one. It's starting to look like a box actually. You know what? Before I fold this one, I'm gonna give it another pass with the shiver pen, with the whatever it's called pen, to be exactly on the line. Press slightly harder this time. I think I just bent the tool. Okay. Don't let the missus see, okay? It's gonna be a very long YouTube video. Maybe I should speed this up a bit. let me get this off. If I can get it. Oh, wait, there it comes. Yeah. Shoop. Hup. Wow. This is incredible. This goes in here. This goes like so. And voila, we have a box. Well, that was not as bad as I had anticipated. This is probably due to the fact I already had a little practice before I shot the video. And as you can see, practicing paid off. We have a nice sturdy box, which was done in a relatively easy way. Come to think of it, cutting and gluing is a rather neat process, so I think we just checked off rule number 4. Anyway, since I don't want to bore you with more cutting and gluing, I did the rest off camera. We have Tomb Raider, The Rescue of Princess Blobette, and of course Zen the Intergalactic Ninja. I also went ahead and printed and cut and glued all the little beds if you want. So let me just close up this little box, put it down and take a few moments to admire my handiwork. Okay, that's enough admiring. Let's move on to the next part. Well, we ended up with a number of boxes, but there's still one thing left to do. Remember Zen? We still need to stick a label on the cartridge, but not like this. Look at him, there's sticker residue all over it. Even the back looks disgusting. So it's bathing time. Now naturally we cannot just plunge him into the water and hope for the best. We have to remove the little circuit board. So let me just do that real quick. And that should take out the little screw. And here's one part, and here is the circuit board. And while I have it out, let's clean it a bit. I have an old toothbrush, I got some IPA, it's 70%, but it should do the trick. Tiny bit on, and just rub it all over the little legs. And of course the contacts here, and we can also take the back, voila, maybe a bit more. It's funny that there's only one row of contacts, not 2 like other cartridges, but that should okay. It's designed this way. Okay, where's the lid? Here's the lid. So, and as for these two, let's get them to the kitchen sink. And welcome to the kitchen sink. As you can see, I've made some soapy water and these two can dive right in. Then it's going to be hours of scrubbing and scrubbing and scrubbing and even more scrubbing. But through the magic of video editing, they emerge all clean. Unfortunately, they are still a bit yellowed, but yeah, well, the sticker residue is all gone. So let me dry them off. This is number 1. And number 2. So now let's close the cartridge up again. I have to use the tiny little screw in the back side. Oh, I hope I don't drop this. If I drop this, I probably will never find it again. And voila! Almost as good as new. So we are back at the desk and everything is ready for the label. But first, let me check if the game still works. I've been over the board with the toothbrush and this game is, at the time of videotaping, 29 years old. So you never know what might happen. Now let me get my Game Boy Pocket. Insert the game. Click. Oh, that does not bode well. Let's try again. Hey, there's no power LED. Yeah, it should work better with batteries in there. I think I have some batteries here. Duracell. Do I have another one? Yes. Okay, retry. Okay, that's better. Well, still seems to work. Start, A, B. Oh, there it goes. Konami. And start. Well, seems to work. Choose an area. And jump. Oh, jump. Well, etc, etc. We've seen the game work, so I can put this away. So I'll go here and here. Now let me just put this away and we can start gluing. These go back here. This one goes on the side. Now, speak about gluing, I'm not going to use the extra tacky double-sided tape. Instead, I'm going to use this stuff. And why? Well, that's very simple. If you take, for example, one of these clamshells, Game Boy Advances, the space between the cartridge and the label is so tiny that you don't want to make it any thicker. And this glue simply is thinner. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Now, of course, I'm not going to spray this stuff all over my desk. I have an old food container with some Q-tips. I'm going to shake this stuff well. And then I'm going to just spray some in here. Maybe I should not do this in my desk. Hang on for a second. And voila. I'm going to take my Q-tip, gently apply the glue on the label and a bit on the cartridge. I have to be careful not to make it too thick, otherwise it's gonna squish all out of the cartridge. Okay, now let me see if I got the label upright. There it is. And whoa, this stuff is sticky. It immediately sticks. Okay, now we can let this dry, and after that we can finish the video with the conclusion. Well, that was about it. We have successfully made boxes for these poor boxless games. So what is the final conclusion? As you might remember, in the beginning we had 4 rules we had to stick to. Editors, can I see those rules again, please? Thank you. So, did we manage a low budget? Now, let's see. For each box, we used at most 3 sheets of paper, 2 box halves and 1 inner tray. Using the expensive thick glossy photo paper, which cost about 20 cents per sheet, that is about 60 cents for a complete box. A transparent tray for this one and this one will set you an additional 20 to 30 cents back. So basically just under €1 per box. So yeah, I would say rule number 1 has been met. Continuing on rule number 2, and I can already hear you screaming at your screen, quality compared to what? And you have a good point. So for that I went actually out of my way and bought an original, still sealed version of Tomb Raider Legends so we can compare. The colors are slightly more vibrant, but that could be a printer setting or even the way the original was scanned. In hindsight, I should have tried to scan my own box, just for comparison's sake. That would also eliminate the possibility of people mixing up dot prints with pixel prints like the original scanners might have done. BPI and DPI are not the same. Anywho, I digress. I think we nailed number 2. Rule number 3. Was it simple to do? Absolutely. It's just downloading, printing, cutting and gluing. Even for a guy like me, this was pretty easy. I do, however, must mention one drawback. Spend time. this whole thing is pretty time consuming. Cutting alone took me about 10 minutes just for one box, and that was with off-screen practice under my belt. Nonetheless, it's another well-earned check mark. As for the last rule, shall I just place a check mark? I mean, the fact that we use this process not only to make a whole bunch of boxes for Game Boy, but we can also do this for other console types. Not to mention, you can make this technique to make variations like a scaled version that takes up less space. Look how cute he is. So, I will confidently place another check mark. Well, with it all said and done, it is time to say goodbye. I would love to hear what you thought of this, so please put your comments, questions, tips and suggestions down in the comment section below. And I hope you liked this video. If so, you know what to do. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and as always, stay retro. Cheers!